Hey, Extreme Team, I've got one thing to say to you. Welcome to my channel. My name is Mr. X. Today we're looking at another Extreme collectible. This is a custom 1/4 scale Xmen piece. It's Banshee vs. Sentinel. Let me unpack all that for you. So first, a custom is a private unlicensed commission where they don't make that many copies. They actually only made 35 of these. 1/4 scale means they shrunk down the Sentinel head. They shrunk down Banshee 4 times smaller than his original form. Not really, it's just a statue. And as I said, this is an Xmen piece. It's Banshee versus a Sentinel, at least part of a Sentinel. And if you're seasoned on the channel, then you know that I love Xmen pieces, specifically Xmen vs. Sentinel pieces with huge Sentinel hands, feet, and heads. That's just how I roll. So I cannot wait to join this guy to the collection. He's my first piece from this custom group, and I have a number of other ones on order. And kind of a spoiler, I love it. So I thought he'd go awesome with a lot of my other pieces. The Sentinel vs. Rogue, Cyclops vs. Sentinel, Beast vs. Sentinel, Iceman vs. Sentinel. And it looks like he's going to scale perfectly. You can actually check out some of those reviews at the end of this. At the end of this review, I'll throw up a little window where you can click on some of those reviews. But before we dive in, we are super close, probably a few days away from giving away this statue right here. On our road to 20,000 subs, we are giving out this Mortal Kombat statue at 12,500 subs. All you have to do is make sure you've liked this video, you've subscribed to the channel, and you've hit that bell notification and stay tuned for that giveaway. Now, Banshee is a character that I'm not in love with. To me, Banshee was kind of always a wuss. And even in the newly remade X-Men First Class movies, he didn't really impress me either. However, that's not the case. Banshee has what they call superhuman lungs. That's right, what a power. Actually, it's pretty damn powerful. As you see here, we'll talk about it in concept, but he can actually scream so loud that it makes him travel at the speed of sound. He can fly, he can carry other people, and he can destroy people with his voice. Kind of like a lot of the women I've dated. So I'm so happy to finally have him in the collection, and I'm kind of just absorbing him. He is fantastically done. So let's just dive right into the Extreme review. We're going to use the traditional scale. T is a 1 or trash, and then X, 5 is extreme. So we're going to rank him in a whole bunch of categories, starting with concept. Obviously, it's Banshee vs. Sentinel, but I think there's a little bit more to that. So let's check it out. So here you have the Sentinel head, and one thing, if you've watched some of these reviews before, you know I hate when they don't scale Sentinel heads properly. Like, I think a lot of the license companies don't do that. This is scaled properly. Not only is it scaled properly, but this Sentinel head is extremely messed up. Not just where Banshee did the damage, but there's some other damage. You see some maybe Wolverine claw marks or some other damage. Maybe it's from a recent battle. Maybe it's from a battle way in the past where this Sentinel's been around for a while and Banshee finally took him out. And as you move up towards the middle, there's a hole right through the middle, and it's a pretty large hole actually. You could probably fit a softball down there. And you see pieces jutting out. So it's clear that he just flew through the inside of the Sentinel here, which I love the fact that they're showing he not only destroyed it with his voice, but he flew through the middle of it. And there's some other battle damage we'll look at during paint and sculpt, like I said, that I don't know if Banshee did or not, but it just definitely makes it more worn for the wear. I think that would have been a miss if the only damage was where Banshee was coming out. And as you move up, like I said, Banshee, who's not really a badass character, at least to me, he doesn't look too badass. Here he does. So first of all, he's in mid-flight. They kind of have that illusion that he's flying because just one foot is pegged in. You'll see during the design with pieces flying around him. His wings are flying back, his wings on his outfit, and he is showing his muscles. He's pulling back just like he used one of the most fierce screams he's ever had. There's a couple head switch outs. This one right here, he's more tilted up, so it's a little bit hard to see, especially where I'm going to display him. But very muscular, great anatomy, and the expression on his face is fantastic. On both portraits, actually, which we'll look at in a bit. So I love it. I think they took a character who like I said, I never really was a big fan of. They made me a fan of the character. They made the character look badass, whether he's badass or not. The Sentinel head looks amazing. I love the damage they did to it. I think it's a perfect concept. I think it's a 5 out of 5. There's not too many Banshee statues out there. But if you're going to do one, do it great like this. So with that being said, I'm going to put him with all my other X-Men pieces. And if you want to see what that looks like, go ahead and check out the Extreme Channel Facebook page. The link is actually in the description of this video. Make sure you've liked and followed that page, and you'll get notifications when I post exclusive stuff on there, sometimes before or after YouTube. Now let's talk about design. And first of all, let's just go ahead and show the unboxing and the assembly. 2 boxes, one large, one small. Now the small box didn't have an art box or anything, but your classic black foam, black straps, and there were 2 layers. Banshee was 1 layer too deep, if that makes sense, and then these other ones were just another layer on it. Then here is taken out of the art box. Art box was nothing very fancy. You almost had to destroy the shipper to get it, but it was just like Banshee. 2 layers, one was the base. The base took up 2 layers, and then 2 other small layers. So as you saw, I had a little bit of trouble. A couple things going on. First of all, there's a loose piece inside of here, which isn't uncommon. Sometimes a piece on the inside breaks off in shipping. Thankfully, it was on the inside, and you can just hear it rattle. That's about it. Some of these pieces, I don't know if they're in the right spots. With customs, you don't get directions or anything, but it looks good to me, and they fit decently. They're not falling out. Let's get the dimensions before I forget, because this will let me know if he's going to fit where I'm going to put him. But probably the deepest point is under 22 inches. Tallest point is just under 30 inches, so he will fit where I have him going. And the widest point, probably where this eyeball's coming out, is about 16, maybe a little bit more. Now he does have a number of display switch out options, so let's look at those really quick. First, the eyeballs actually light up. So the lens here is magnetized, and you can just remove it and the light's on the inside. I am actually all out of batteries. I got like 4 custom statues in, and some of them took batteries. I never use the light up feature anyway, but I think it's cool that they added that. For Banshee, here's the switch out options. First, let's look at his head. So he has this, it's more looking up, it's screaming. They're both in a very fierce scream pose with blonde hair, and his eyes are whited out. Or you can do the ginger. So Banshee obviously has the Irish heritage. The differences on here, he's not looking as up, more forward. Obviously the red hair. And then the eyes are not whited out. Then his fists, you can have closed fists. And it's the same on both sides. Or slightly opened. And I like them both equally. And with the portraits, I thought the blonde was for sure the way to go for me. I like the blonde eyes whited out. It shows more of a power. But I'm actually really digging the red-haired portrait and the fact that he looks a little bit forward and I'm putting him up high. So it might be a little bit better for me. I don't know. I guess you'll see when you check it out on Facebook. So like I said, I really appreciate they scaled the Sentinel head properly. I love that the hole goes all the way through. I know that seems something stupid and small, but it really tells the entire story. No seam lines. The magnets are strong enough. There's really no issues. I don't know where I would improve the design. I guess the only negative on the design is you have to be very careful where you display him. Like I said, up high, you're going to lose a little bit of it. If you display him right in the middle, you'll still lose a little bit of the top. So your display options are somewhat limited. But otherwise, I give the design a 4 out of 5. It's done very well. A lot of engineering to this. I don't anticipate any lean issues. He pegged in really strong right here. The bottom leg is extremely secured. Now we're going to jump into paint and sculpt. And what's funny is a lot of these big Sentinel pieces I have are sculpted by Franco Carlissimo. This is not, however, the portraits kind of look like they were, even though I know it's not. I've actually spoken to the sculptor before. So let's do actually a video review because there's so much going on here and that'll just be easier to explain it all to you guys. See, I wasn't lying about the hole. So we're actually going to start at the top and let me look at the red-haired portrait first for you guys. Great job on this. First, the hair. There are little strands of blonde in there. I like that. I like the way it's streaming. The other hair is very similar. It's like it's being blown back. But take a look at the portrait here. Look at the paint. So you see some blue veins in his throat, which look great. You'd expect he's kind of overpowering his throat. And then also just his eyes, the facial expression. Look at the paint around the teeth and mouth. Great job. Big old eyebrows, but I think that's kind of the heritage thing. And here is the other portrait. So you have a lot of the same stuff going on, like I said, with the hair, except obviously the different color. And here you can see he's really tilted back up more. The whited out eyes, you can see a little bit deeper into his throat. And again, amazing paint job around that. I like the flesh tones they used. The pinks around the mouths, the teeth look great. And then Banshee's costume. So a lot of texture in the green part of it, kind of this, honeycomb checkerboard pattern. And you can still see all the wrinkles in the anatomy underneath. Very fit guy, very muscular guy, which most comic characters are. He has this big seam running down where his wings are attached. And the paint is extremely clean. A few minor areas, but nothing to write home about. And then no texture or anything on his wings, especially like his suit. But again, just great job. The anatomy, the detail all around. I like the folds and the yellow fabric right here. So the yellow fabric that you also see on his gloves and his boots and up here on the collar, you see some shading. Here it's more of a orange and yellow built-in shading where it's more black on the gloves. And you have a different type of texture along with the folds on both the gloves and the boot. And here's kind of the open fist and then the closed fist. I kept one of each on to kind of contrast for you guys. Like I said, both look really good actually. I think both demonstrate the same concept. Here's a look at his boots. Just great job, even the tread on the bottom. A lot of that shading and the texture that we saw on the gloves. And as impressive as Banshee is, the Sentinel head is probably more impressive. I don't even know where to start on this, but I love the coloring they use, the purple coloring. Looks faded and worn like it's been around for a while, maybe out in the weather, but then you see all that battle damage as well. Like I said, I don't know if Banshee could have done some of this, but this could have been another X-Men, whether it was Psylocke or, down here you see kind of a tribute to Wolverine. So the entire team kind of getting on them. Then the gold circuitry parts just look fantastic. And even where it's destroyed, you can see some of the inner circuitry, especially down the hole in the middle. And kind of the flesh tones they always use to give the Sentinels the face. And again, faded up, kind of like it's charred or burned from a lot of battles. You see more circuitry in there. This is just really impressive. I love how the eyes are popped out like a broken robot almost. Here's some more shots for you guys. Yeah, really impressed. They did a great job with both the paint and sculpt and the execution of this. This is a keeper for sure. So as I said, what's crazy is I'm really impressed by the Sentinel head, but Banshee is just as impressive. It is done really, really well. This is an amazing piece. So with how much is going on with the paint and how clean it is, I honestly think I got to give the paint a 5 out of 5. It's really well done. I wouldn't call it perfect, but 5 out of 5 doesn't necessarily mean perfect. But it is extreme. Regarding the sculpt, I'm trying to figure out why the sculpt also would not be considered an extreme as well. You know what? I have to give the sculpt an extreme as well, a 5 out of 5. Now let's talk about value on this piece. So for a large 1/4 scale Xmen vs Sentinel piece, the value is very good. It was just under $1,000. However, shipping was a bitch as usual. I didn't want to wait. I wanted to be first to review it. So I paid for express shipping, which was like $550. Economy shipping was about $300. But you're about $1,500 all into this. Definitely can make that money back. Such a rare character. He's rarely done. Xmen is kind of the thing right now, whether you're custom or licensed. So people would definitely want this type of display. People are still liking the Xmen vs Sentinel. But value-wise, you know, great sculpt, great paint, great concept. The fact that he's a lesser wanted character does hurt it a little bit. But I would say on the value, it's a 4 out of 5 on this, which seems kind of crazy. It's like, okay, $1,500, including shipping. But nowadays, there's a lot of pieces by great companies like Prime One Studios that are $1,500 for a quarter scale as well, plus shipping. So does this piece have the X factor? And just to define that, people ask, is that the overall score? No, it's not. It's if you walk by this piece, does it take your breath away? Is it a head turner? Does it say, my God, that piece is awesome. I want to throw away the boxes. I don't think I'll ever sell it. Hell yeah, I feel this way about this piece. I think it's an X. This is the first piece from that custom group. Way to come out of the gates. Take a lesser known character who's still wanted by a decent amount of people and just do an awesome concept, awesome execution on every aspect. Very well done. So with Banshee being a lesser known character, this is the time. Go ahead and throw a comment below. It'll enter you into a monthly drawing for an extreme prize. What is a lesser known character that hasn't been done enough? Let me know which lesser known character you'd like to see done. But I'm just ecstatic about this piece. Go ahead and click on that custom playlist right there to see some other pieces just like this. And click on that Mr. X logo to subscribe to the channel because I have a bunch more Xmen vs Sentinel pieces coming. I have more from this group coming a few months down the road or maybe early next year. And then tons of new arrivals coming up. A lot of stuff on the dock for you guys. Otherwise, I'll talk to you tomorrow as usual. Don't take care.